I hilariously created a Word document to put them on because, hey, listen, you get what you pay for over here with the Master Football Show because I don't get paid. What is up, everyone? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Appreciate you coming by, and let's get after it. All right, well, before we get after it, okay, please, okay, please subscribe to the channel, okay? Please like the video. And if you shared it, that'd be cool. But again, please like, please subscribe, and please share it. Anyways, let's get after it. Okay, so we had our Obscure Prospect series. I love the Obscure Prospect series. It was one of the funnest things I ever did. I got more views on those videos than anything else. My Larry Borom video absolutely blew up. Shout out Chicago fans, appreciate it. But continuing on with that, man, so we are a couple days after the draft. We're a couple of days after the undrafted free agent signings, and we're able to kind of see where people went, what people have done. Some teams have made decisions in terms of we're going to have this guy in as a free agent because we didn't address it in the draft. We're going to bring that guy in as a free agent because we didn't address it in the draft. I'm a Raiders fan. They signed Casey Hayward. I think it's because they didn't necessarily get the quality of corner that they were looking for or that fell to them in the draft. So they're like, well, let's go out here and let's address it in the free agency market. And they went out there and did that. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of our obscure prospects. Okay, I hilariously created a Word document to put them on because, hey, listen, you get what you pay for over here with the Master Football Show because I don't get paid. Look at this high quality reporting that we have right here. Okay, look at this high quality. You see it up there, document 1. Okay, it's just fantastic. Okay, beyond that, so let's see what kind of happened here. So Riley Cole, linebacker, went to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was an undrafted free agent. Milton Williams went into the 3rd round to the Philadelphia Eagles. Love that pick. Tarron Jackson went to Eagles as well in the 6th round. Love those doubles up. Larry Borom, who was a right tackle, is now going to be playing guard. Went in the 5th round to the Bears. The Bears in the very next pick, in the next round, they picked Dazz Newsome in the 6th round. So they got that shifty wide receiver kick returner there. The Cowboys in the 6th round selected Quinton Bohanna. Love that pick. Gary Brightwell went to the New York Giants in the 6th round. John Bates went into the 4th round to the Washington football team. Atrilleon, my boy Trill Harris, went to the New Orleans Saints as an undrafted free agent, and Cade Johnson went to the Seattle Seahawks as an undrafted free agent. Now, before I get into what I like, I'm going to go over my top situations that I like. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to start right away. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to lead the NFL in sacks or anything like that. But what this is in terms of the situation I like for them to succeed going forward. Could be now, could be later on. But who has the best opportunity to kind of get in there? Now, I know that there's a couple players who are higher ranked. Milton Williams was picked here. Cade Johnson was an undrafted free agent. There's a big discrepancy between those players. But I actually think that there's certain guys that are in better situations than the others. I'll go over the 5 guys that I don't hate their positions, but I don't love them. So let's get back into this. Riley Cole, undrafted free agent, went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, they just selected Nick Bolton, linebacker from Missouri. They're pretty solid. The defense is reasonably set. I don't know whether or not he's going to make the roster on that. It's a tough situation. I just don't know about that one. Milton Williams. So Milton Williams steps into kind of a weird situation because he's kind of an end tackle hybrid. They've got Fletcher Cox. They've got Javon Hargrave, who's a pretty good pass rusher from the inside. They kind of don't necessarily have the defensive ends that they had before. I think they still have Derek Barnett. I think they still have Brandon Graham. So they've got a solid defensive line. Now, whether or not he's going to get on the field, I do know that he was a projection for the future. Again, I think that for him, he's the kind of guy where I think that on base downs, he should be a 4-3 end. And then on pass rushing downs, he should be a 4-3 defensive tackle. That's where he's probably going to be the most effective for them. But don't hate that position, but I do know that's a pretty crowded backfield. It's a pretty crowded front four for him to make the field with those guys. Next one is going to be my boy Gary Brightwell. Again, I think Gary runs hard. I do. If you look at that team, though, I mean, Saquon, Wayne Gallman, Elijah Penny, Devontae Booker. There's a lot of mouths to feed ahead of him. So whether or not he can beat them out, I don't know. I do know that my man runs hard. He's going to be in this league. He's going to be on a roster. He's just way too talented to not be on a roster. Now, whether or not he's a focal point of the offense, I do know that I worry about his ability to be on the field in passing downs, in terms of catching the ball, in terms of blocking, because he can run. Your boy can run. Your boy between the tackles is deadly. Whether or not he can make it on the field for the other downs, don't know about that just yet. Another one that I'm not exactly thrilled about, I don't hate it, but Dazz Newsome. So we'll see what he's going to do. I do know that they've got a couple solid receivers there. It looks like they've drafted a couple offensive line. They want to be running the ball. Maybe kick returner. I don't hate that, but again, I'm just not 100% sure if I see a path to getting on the field for him. And then the last one as well is going back to the Eagles with Tarron Jackson for the same exact reasons. Whereas Milton has the flexibility to play inside or outside. Tarron's strictly outside. You might project him as a linebacker. I don't think so. He's pretty stiff, but he's really strong. But again, crowded defensive line there. Now, I knew they might be reloading for the future, but don't necessarily like that spot for him to play a lot. All right, now let's get into situations that I really like. Starting at number 5 with your boy, Cade Johnson. So, went ahead and pulled up the Seattle Seahawks roster in terms of receivers. So, DK Metcalf, enough said, Tyler Lockett, slated in the slot. Dwayne Eskridge was just drafted, and I guess he's kind of like a 5'9", 190. He's pretty agile there. But then beyond that, I mean, you've got, who do we got? We got Cody Thompson, John Ursua, Freddie Swain, Darvin Kidsey, Penny Hart, Aaron Fuller. I'll say this. The reason why he's 5 is because he is an undrafted free agent and because they drafted a guy ahead of him. Now, that being said, there's only really 2 wide receiver spots that they have solidified. That's the reason probably they went with Dwayne Eskridge. They were like, listen, we got 2 good receivers. David Moore left. We need another one. We're going to have to fill that void. So I actually think that Cade Johnson could be one of those surprise guys that comes in and actually is able to compete early just because they're like, yo, dude, we got to figure this out soon. He's dynamite with his breaks. Russell Wilson's the kind of guy where, he wants to be on time and on target. That place that right there. He is able to create after the play kind of breaks down. But Cade Johnson is got too much shake for people to handle in that division. So I really like this position actually for him, even as an undrafted free agent. All right, next one is our dear friend Quinton Bohanna with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the reason why I like Quinton so much is because if you look at the roster, I do think that there are starters ahead of him. Tristan Hill was a guy who was a high draft pick a couple years ago. Osa Odigizua was picked ahead of him, but Osa is a little bit of a flex. He's not necessarily a pure nose tackle, a pure traditional 4-3 DT. Antoine Woods is the only thing that looks kind of like him. Walter Palmore might be, never even heard of Walter Palmore, but Antoine Woods has played in the NFL for a while, 6'1", 318. But again, you see there, 6'4", 360, probably is going to play hopefully close to 330. Play close to the 330, baby. Play close to 330. So if he does, man, there's nothing that looks like him there. He's the kind of guy where goal line, he's going to be in there. Short yards down, he's going to be in there. And if he can actually play more than 10, 15 snaps in a game, he can give you, let's say, 40 solid snaps in a game. Gosh, especially if he weighs 330. If he does that, man, he's got a clear opportunity to get on the field very early. All right, number 3 on my guys are the best situations that I like. So, all right, I really like the situation for Larry Borom. Tevin Jenkins is right tackle. Okay, they've got rid of Charles Leno, so it looks like Tevin Jenkins might be playing left tackle, but it sounds like Larry Borom is slated to play guard. It's great for him. He does have some issues with foot speed in terms of just naturally getting the edge. I remember the Pro Football Focus breakdown of him basically said that every rush looks like a speed rush because he has to laboriously get back there. Now, if he's not having to do that with those swift defensive ends, he can go ahead and go up against some defensive tackles. As long as he's able to get under them, again, tackles have it, especially really tall tackles, have an issue getting a guard because now their pad level has to lower down a whole bunch to go against those really, really strong defensive tackles. So I actually think he's got a path to get on the field because if you look here, I mean, what is it? Elijah Wilkinson, Cody Whitehair, again, solid player. Badara Traore, I don't know if I said that right. Lachavius Simmons, Sam Mustapher, Jermaine Ifedi, Arlington Hambrighton, Deidre Iselin, James Daniels is solid. But beyond that, man, I mean, Alex Bars, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of quality competition, especially the guys for his strength. He's so damn strong. I don't know if there's anybody on this roster, especially from an offensive line perspective. Maybe Tevin. Tevin's pretty strong. But Larry is a strong guy too, and now he doesn't have to worry about the foot speed of those defensive ends. He gets to worry about defensive tackles. I'm putting him in number 3. All right, next up is my boy Atrilleon, a.k.a. Trill Williams. Now, the reason why I like this so much, I'm not going to lie, I went at the New Orleans Saints a while ago because they were running out of money. They had a lot of players. Even with Drew Brees leaving, they still had a lot of money that they didn't have allocated on the roster for new players. So they had to move some things around, had to restructure some contracts, get rid of some players. There was a lot of talent that went out the door. Now you can debate whether or not they're starters or not. Trey Hendrickson is a huge loss, even if he's not a starter or not. So you have to kind of weigh that out. One of those guys that left was Janoris Jenkins, starting corner opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. If you look here, we have Grant Haley, cornerback, not a super big guy. Marshawn, obviously. Patrick Robinson. Patrick Robinson is slated to start opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. Now, Patrick Robinson, 33 years old. In the last 3 years, he's missed 22 games. I'm not saying that he's not going to necessarily miss games this year. I think last year he had 2 interceptions. So he's still able to kind of play and produce as a player. But I do think that of all these situations here, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to play in the slot. That corner opposite of Marshawn Lattimore is still a question mark. He is the kind of guy where he can come in. He is super talented. He played great as a freshman outside corner. He's going to return into that. I really like him as an outside corner coming on this team, especially because there's no clear path to any of these players, or there's no clear that guy's going to play here, that guy's going to play here. I do think this is the most up in the air of all the positions, except for this one at number 1. So, complete homer, get mad at me, don't care. There's the flag. I don't want to hear it. Okay? It's John Bates. The reason why, let's look at the roster of the tight ends for the Washington football team. So, we see down here they have Logan Thomas, Tyrone Swoops. For anybody who knows, they both played quarterback in college. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying they can't play tight end in the league, but I do think that John Bates has been a tight end throughout his career. These guys kind of have done transitions. They're better athletes necessarily than they are willing blockers or things like that. I'm not saying Logan can't block. I'm not saying Tyrone can't block, but it is a projection. Dylan Cantrell, it says he's a tight end, 226 pounds. At best, he might be an H-back, kind of like a move tight end, maybe even like a small fullback, something like that. He was a receiver at Texas Tech. Then we've got Samus Reyes, who's that? Samus Reyes is the Chilean, like, freakazoid. He's the freak of nature guy. He's never actually played football, though. Temerick Hemingway, Marcus Baugh, and that's about it. John Bates he's got the clearest path to actually playing, just because, not because of he's exponentially better than all the guys that are on that list, but because those guys are just not experienced tight ends. Again, Logan Thomas, I think last year came in, had a couple of solid games, but he's a projection forward. John Bates, been a tight end in college, put on 40 pounds to play tight end in college, played tight end in high school, was tight end the whole way, works out as a tight end, develops his game as a tight end, works out with Zach Ertz as a tight end. He is exclusively a tight end. He was selected in the 4th round. That's pretty high, and I think that unless something happens, man, he is slated to start day 1 for your Washington football team. So that was awesome. Just being able to look at that and see all those players and everything like that. Again, I wish luck to all of them. Again, this is a projection. All drafting is a projection. Okay, I don't give a dang what anybody says. Nobody really knows until 3 years down the road how these players are going to turn out. These guys might get cut by this team, go to that team, and have a great career. You never know. But that's my list. So please, please, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Mostly just a like and subscribe. If you share, awesome. But please do those things. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, I'm so humbled by how many people actually pay attention to this show. But anyways, I will see you guys on Friday. But beyond that, you guys have yourself a happy Wednesday, and I will see you then.